So the beauty of growing is that we get better over time, but another consequence of that is that our work can start to look quite inconsistent. As I go back through my portfolio, I get quite emotional looking at all the amazing things that I've got to do so far in my career. And I still absolutely love a lot of these projects, even if my edit has evolved over time. I realised looking back that when I started, my edit was a lot darker and a lot more high contrast. You can see here in particular, like if we look at this blog post from 2022, my edit is completely different now. My shadows are a lot higher, my blacks too, and generally contrast is a bit lower as well. Skin tones are a little bit more natural. That being said, I still love so many of these moments, and that's why I never want to not use old work just because it's not consistent. Now, consistency is really important because when couples are landing on your page, they want to know what they're going to get when they book in with you. And that's why I've been using Imagen to go through old blog posts. And this is not sponsored in any way. I pay for Imagen as a paying client. And it's something that I've only been using recently just to go through because they've got a free culling resource. You do pay for the edits, but the culling is free. So I'm going to show you that today because this wedding in particular, I absolutely love it. It's at one of my favourite venues, as will be Rectory, but my edit's completely changed since then. So I'm going to go through and show you. So this is the Imagen interface, and what I did recently is I went through and I copied all of my weddings onto one massive hard drive. It's something like 60 terabytes or something. It's huge. And I've gone through and I've put create a new project and cull. And whilst this is in beta at the moment, you don't have to pay for it, which is amazing. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to have a look at Keeley and David's because I already did that one, and I'm going to go on review culling. Now, once Imagen has culled it, it'll separate it into different sections. Yellow is usually duplicates, green is the ones that it recommends, and then blue is standalone photos. But I don't always trust AI, so I'm going to look at all of the photos. Now, it's important to say that this gallery has already had a base cull, and I used Photo Mechanic for that. But these are just some of the images that I wanted to edit before doing the final cull. And I always do that because I feel like the gallery, until you edit it, you don't 100% know which ones you're going to pick. Now, the basis of me culling this, it's not to send it back to the couple. It's just for the sake of adding work that I love to my blog. So all I'm looking for is 50 to 70 images. I'm going to click on yellow, green and blue, and I'm going to now go through and choose 50 to 70 images that I feel represent the gallery well as a whole, which I'll then export and edit and add to my blog. So I've just gone through and I have one-starred all of the ones that I think could be perfect for the blog post. And then all I have to do is go up here and press filter, and it will show me all the ones that I've done. Now, the reason why I want to share this wedding on my blog is because I really want to book my weddings at the venue. It's a beautiful local venue. I love it. And I've only ever done one wedding there, but it's not too far and it's such a gorgeous space. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because it's really important to really think about why you want to share weddings that you are picking on your blog. Is it the venue? Is it the location? Is it the fashion? Because naturally, you're not going to love every single thing about every single wedding. So it's good to share different weddings for different reasons. And when you are curating the pictures that you want to put on the blog, just keep that in mind so that you're targeting the right kinds of clients. I really want to focus on the details. The bride is actually one of my really good friends now, Keeley, and she is an amazing florist, so the flowers were insane. The venue, as I've touched on, was really important, so that's also a factor. And then just the togetherness and the vibe and how beautiful all the friendships were and whatnot. So after I've done the initial cull, it says here that I've got 74 photos. I'm just going to go through and make sure that it's curated, I'm not repeating myself, and that it's a really good mix. So I'm going to get rid of that one because I've got quite a few detail photos there, and because I'm only doing up to 70 pictures of a full gallery, I want to make sure that I'm not condensing too much in one part of the day. So So I'm going down, I'm really happy with all these. I've got some vibey shots, lots of the venue. And then you can see that as I've gone through, I've got some similar ones. So now that I'm seeing it all as a whole, I can go through and remove different ones and just make sure that I'm happy. So out of those two, I like the composition of this one more because I like these here, so I can get rid of that. And I'm just going through and making sure that I'm getting a good balance of details and then what the wedding day actually felt like. I want to make sure, so this, for example, they're coming down the aisle, but I prefer the confetti shot, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Out of the two family shots, I hadn't realised that there were kids in that one, so I'm going to get rid of that one because I try not to share pictures of children on my website unless I've got express permission from the family. And then still going through, just making sure that I'm happy with everything. So we've got two table shots here. This one's better natural light. You can see here we've got some artificial light, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Beautiful cake shot, vibes. Few different ones at the table. I've only included one bridesmaid shot here, and then we go on to the speeches. These were really emotional speeches, and part of my brand is that I'm really good at showing how the day felt, so that's why I'm making sure that these go into the blog post. And then just this band was everything to the couple. So I'm just making sure that I pop that in there as well. This fireworks shot is a little bit underwhelming, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then, so I've got 66, so I'm really happy with that number. I aim for 50 to 70 usually. I really feel like this shows what the day was about, as well as showing some really pretty pictures of the venue. So I'm going to stop there. Now, if you wanted to, you can edit, but this is going to cost you money. I'll pop a code in the description below, which will give you so many free edits that you can have a play with Imagen. But if you're not wanting to do that, if you're wanting to edit themselves, you can just export the photo ratings, and then this will show you basically the ones that have 1 starred, and then when you import them into Lightroom, you can filter by 1 star, and then just go through and edit the ones that you've done. But if you're really trying to save time, you can edit them in Imagen, and this is what it looks like. So you can see that I've filtered them by 1 star, so it's only the 66 images that I've chosen, not all of them. And then you can choose your profile, the one that you want to do. I'm going to do colour, which is my most used one. I'm not going to use any of these because they cost money, and I'm cheap, so I like to try and save as much as I can. And then basically I'll send that across and it will come up here when it's done. So all I've done is clicked download edits, and then once it's downloaded, you can open the folder. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to get all of these apart from the folders. So this is the original folder, which is on my big hard drive that I mentioned earlier. And I'm just going to drop them all into Lightroom. And then once that's done, I can import them. So once you've imported them into Lightroom, all you have to do is go up here to attribute and then click on edits. But you could also do the 1 star if that's how you've done them in Imagen. And then once that's there, we can go through to develop and just go through and make sure that we're happy with all the edits. So once you've done it, you're going to want to go through and check. I've already gone through and edited each photo individually for the first half, and then I thought, do you know what, even though I've already done a couple of editing videos on YouTube, maybe I should go through and show you what I've done. So basically it's just choosing which images are going to be in colour versus black and white, and then I'll go through each image individually and I'll edit out little things like plug sockets, and then just make sure that the temperature and the lighting is consistent. So I got up to about here and I've just denoised that photo, and I'm just going to lower it down ever so slightly. Yes, I got up to here, which is good. So even though the AI is really good, it's not perfect, and I always go through each image and just check it to make sure that I'm 100% happy. And then you can go through and make minor tweaks. like I just thought the skin was looking a little bit yellow in the undertone, so I've just gone down and used the mixer to make sure that that's perfect. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. And then I'll just carry on going through just to make sure that I'm 100% happy. And I'm just trying to make sure that everything's consistent. So I'm looking at things like temperature, colours, and then just double checking that I'm happy with eyes open, all that jazz. And I've also got a pet hate for straight lines not being straight. So I always go through and try and make sure that it's as perfect as possible. And these tweaks are super minor. I also try to make sure that I am giving enough variety. So usually what I like to do is go from a wide shot to a cropped shot. But in a case like this, where you've got a few in a row, I'll use things like colour and cropping to help, because I want to make sure that everything looks really dynamic. So this is an example, again, of straight lines in a row. So what I do, because this one's not straight and this one is I'm just going to get rid of that so that can be nice and straight. What a vibe. What a vibe. This was such a gorgeous wedding. I absolutely loved this wedding. So I'm just going through, and as always, I'm using the Faye Wilde presets, which I will link below, just to make sure that everything's nice and quick. You can do a quiz on Imagen and put your presets into it. So they are normally quite good, but that's just one colour. And sometimes you want to use other ones within your preset. So for example, this one, I want it to be quite dark and moody. So I'm just going to have a look and see which preset I want to use. I really like that. So the base preset is nearly perfect. The base edit that Imagen's done is nearly perfect every single time. I'm literally just going through and doing little tweaks to make sure that I'm 100% happy. And then adding in the black and white edits as well. But you can see that just having that base edit has meant such a save in time, which is amazing. I've already gone through and denoised these. They were very, very noisy before, because this, even for an October wedding, it was so dark. Like, we had such bad weather in the daytime before we arrived, and then even later on when it got a little bit better, it was still very, very dark in this room. And I don't always want to use flash, especially for things like the ceremony and speeches, because I feel like it distracts a lot from the situation. And to me, the photo should always complement the day, not be distracting. With dark skin, I always go in and try and up the shadows ever so slightly to make sure that we're not losing any detail. And I'm just going to go through and do the same thing with this beautiful gentleman over here. Gorgeous. These speeches, I still remember them. They were so emotional. You can see that his mum got really teary, which was really cute. And how cool to see a bride doing a speech as well. This was a gorgeous moment. Just delicious. Now this is very, very warm. I'm not enjoying that at all. So I'm actually gonna see if we can save this by putting it into black and white, because I'm not enjoying the colours. Yep, I'm liking that a lot more. This is so funny. Look at Rachel. Absolutely love that shot. Again, I'm feeling like the skin is looking a little bit yellow, so I'm going to go down and just reduce that ever so slightly. And then something I do quite a lot with flash, and I show this in my other editing videos as well, is I'll go down and I'll use radial filters or a brush to get rid of shine. So I'll go down and just lower the texture there, and then maybe a little bit more at the brush, make it a little bit bigger because that took a while before. And then, there we go. Perfect. I'm just remembering what a gorgeous wedding this was. It was so fun. Again, with the straight lines, it's really going to bug me that these are not straight. But that's what happens when you shoot on wider focal lengths. It does give you a little bit of distortion. So I'm going to remove that using AI. And yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm just going through and making sure that I'm 100% happy with the images. But just having that base edit is going to save me so much time. And then I can go through and just have a little play. Such a vibe. I honestly, like, one of the best things about going through old weddings just makes me so grateful for all the days that I've got to be a part of. And I know that sounds quite cheesy and quite woo, but I think it's so important to be really appreciative of the fact that people have chosen you to document their wedding. Like, it's still something that I'll never take for granted. And it's like, even though every wedding might not be a portfolio wedding or one where you love the design, you've still got to hang out with amazing, amazing people. And look at Nicole's face, this is so funny. Nicole is now a photographer, so it's so funny because this wedding I became really good friends with Keely and we've done loads of workshops together. I'm just going to go through and save this gorgeous woman from these bits of drink that have fallen on her. And now Nicole has actually become a wedding photographer as well. And she was actually one of my mentees this year. And she's a whole babe. You should check her out. She's Nicole Martin Photography on Instagram. What a shot. Love that shot. And then nearly there. Just love black and white flash photography. And then there we have it. So I'm going to go back and you can see that I've cooled down even more now. It's gone down to like 46, but I'd always rather have less images that I'm really happy with than just have them in for the sake of it. And then you can up the thumbnails and just have a look through just to make sure that you're happy. Now this isn't showing me the edit, so I've just gone through and clicked on develop again. But yeah, really, really happy with those. So I'm going to now export these and then upload them to Lightroom. So once you've edited, you're going to want to go onto PicTime. And what I've done and what I'm going to be using as a base for all my blog posts, submissions, everything, is I've made a new gallery on PicTime called Archive Weddings. And this is where I'm going to put all of my weddings as I upload the updated edits. And the reason why this is really good is because when you go on to share, you can get a secure link and you can select just the scene that you want. So this is good because it means that when you're creating blog posts, which I'll show you in a minute, you've got multiple galleries, so you can draw not just from one wedding and share one wedding, but you might do a blog post on analog scans, or you might do a post on Italy wedding inspiration, or basically if you dip into your keywords, your brand, your business, where you want to be working, all that jazz, and you're focusing on targeting a specific demographic, it means that you'll be able to use images from more than one gallery, but at the same time, if you submit into a bigger blog, for example, like The Lane or The Wed or anything like that, you can just share one gallery at a time. And this is really important because quite often when submitting to larger blogs, they specify that they only want a certain number of images, or they'll just get back to you straight away and say, sorry, no can do. I'm going to go on to Keely and David, upload all of these, and then they will be uploading. Now, the great thing about PicTime after you've done this is you can go onto the blog, create a blog really, really easily. Usually I do editorial, and you can just select all of the images straight away. If I just put all of this scene there, and then I can just go through, re-edit this, and everything's there ready to go, which is amazing. And then I'll decide to make a blog post based on the venue, because that's what I wanted to target, and then go from there. So here is my website, and on my website you can really easily find my journal, and you'll see that using the same process that I've just showed you, I'm able to update my website semi-regularly. Even throughout wedding season, I've usually posted at least once per month, and this is the way that I share some of my favourite work, so that when people land on my page, they will hopefully stay on my website for longer. And that's really good for your SEO, because the more people click through, the longer that people stay on your website. It's telling search engines like Google that your contribution to the internet space is valid. And yeah, that more people should go to your website. So if people are searching for things that you've mentioned on your website, and Google knows that your website is good and it's quality, it means that you're going to rank higher and hopefully come up on the first, second, third page, etc. So I'm just going to show you a few examples. So this is taken from my last workshop for photographers at Hedza. And all I've done is I have copied and pasted the same thing that I used on Instagram. I've got a call to action here saying, if you're a photographer, videographer or content creator looking to enhance your portfolio with scroll-stopping content, join the mailing list. So that's a link to my education mailing list, and then have a look and see what current workshops. So that will click through to my education website, and then you've got this amazing collection of images. And this is just my sneak peeks. This took me no time at all really to make a blog post, because I've just used the Instagram caption. And then another thing that you can do is use the Pinterest feature, which will then bring things up on Pinterest. So in creating this guide, I really wanted to focus on my many years of experience working in weddings. Whilst I've only been a photographer since November 21, I actually had a very established calligraphy business way before. And the funny thing is that even though my calligraphy wasn't that good in the beginning, what was good was that I put a lot of stock into education and marketing and SEO and all of the behind the business stuff that perhaps this time I focused on less in lieu of portfolio and portfolio building. So this guide is basically full of lots and lots of little jobs that you can do this slow season, while still achieving some balance, because we all bloody deserve it. It's been a really, really intense year with the weather. It's been so wet, and like, I don't know about you, but personally I found it really, really hard to get into any sort of routine, just because the seasons have been all over the place, which affects how we work, the mood of our couples, the sheer anxiety that there's going to be weather warnings. Enough on its own is stress enough, but then just lots of other factors. It's just been a weird year this year, and everybody's feeling it. I feel like on a whole people are experiencing less enquiries, and it's more important than ever to make sure that our posts and our hard work is getting as much reach as it deserves. So this guide is all about getting the most out of every single thing. And I just wanted to share one of the activities Just one. There's absolutely loads in this guide, loads of value. I'm really, really proud of it. And you can click the link below to see the full list of contents. It will cover everything from website to workflows, client journey, literally everything that I think is really, really important in helping you to get clients. Despite inquiries being really low across the board, I've got a really healthy number. I'm on 25 weddings for next year at really good prices, and I'm really, really grateful to be so booked. But I do put a lot of time into all of my marketing, all of my channels, and even though I put loads of time into everything, there's still stuff that I want to do this slow season. And this guide was actually born out of me doing a massive strategy plan and really nailing down all the bits that I used to do with my previous business that helped me to get such good reach. At one point I was having 2 million monthly views on Pinterest, and that was all down to alt text and things to do with SEO on my website. So then when I reshared things to Pinterest saw the content as really valuable as well, and I got a lot of store views, and that's something that I really want to do this slow season to help my education content get more reach. So I'll basically be doing all of these tasks with you, but I know that they work because I've already seen them help me to grow one business, and now I'm just hoping to implement them to my photography business, which definitely I've been focusing on portfolios. So now I'm sat on all of this content that I'm so proud of, and I just want to make sure that it's getting in front of as many eyes as possible. So this is one of the tasks from the guide, and I'm going to go through it with you now. So we chose a wedding, and actually in the video we re-edited a wedding, but this just is talking about choosing a wedding from a current edit that you're happy with, going through, re-favoriting 50 to 70 images, which is a really good variety. And when you submit these weddings to blogs, that's normally the number that the blogs want. So as before, when I showed you on the share feature on PicTime, you can select just one blog. Hopefully by the end of doing this, for all of your galleries, you're going to have about 20 to 30 weddings that you're really proud of, that you feel represent your aesthetic and your style of work in a really lovely way. And they're there ready to share, ready to make blogs from, ready to make Instagram posts from. And just having that space is going to save you so much time, because batching is the number one way to optimise. So you can use the PicTime blog feature to create a blog post of the wedding. I'm sorry about my cat. I swear she always goes nuts when I'm making these videos. A blog post needs 1,000 characters for it to be viable. Your introduction should be what you would write on Instagram, and then you can reuse that to make an Instagram post. Or like I did on one of the ones that I showed you earlier in this video, maybe you've already written an Instagram post for the blog, because quite often Instagram is the first place where we put all our eggs as a photographer. So you can reuse your Instagram caption to start off your blog, get you into the vibe. And then I've put some prompts here, like you could talk about the location, why the couple chose it. You can talk about the suppliers and what element of the day you loved the most. You can talk about things that the couple did and what other couples could steal as inspiration to enhance their day. So you're providing value in loads of different ways. Maybe your couple is considering Italy and they've stumbled across your blog post, and just the vibe, the aesthetic, everything, it's confirmed for them that they need it to be their wedding location. In terms of this one, you're providing them with recommendations for suppliers, you're building trust. If you help them find a supplier that they love, they're going to really trust your judgment, and that's going to help you when it comes to getting their trust on the wedding day. And something that I've put here, which I do all the time to save time, is I send a list of questions to my couples and then they answer them. And within their answers, there are undoubtedly going to be keywords. So not only am I padding out the blog post and making sure that it's got enough characters to be a viable blog post in the eyes of Google and other search engines, but it's also saving me time. And you've also got like unexpected social proof. Like the amount of times that I've got the answers back, and then maybe it's just because they're sending the answers to me, but my couples have gone on a massive rant about how much they loved working with me, like how great I was on the day. So this is additional social proof that I wasn't expecting, but that has become a very happy consequence of doing this. So that's why it's something that I really recommend. PicTime has got an SEO feature to review the images, and what I would recommend is that for each one you pick 5 to 10 images from the blog post that best represent your brand, and then you can use things like ChatGBT, which is something that I cover as well in this guide, so that you're working smart, not harder. You can put an image into ChatGBT and say, please write alt text for this image, in fact. So you can see here, you can ask GBT for alt text examples on the photos. So here I've put, show me some examples of good alt text for this image, and it's a beautiful picture of a guy that I took at a wedding in Barcelona last year, and it gives you some options, and you can choose to copy and paste into PicTime 5 images that represent your work the best. You could go through and do every single image, but that would take ages. But doing that is going to really help you save time. So this task is just one example of the many tasks that are available by this guide, and it was really important that when I was building it there were practical bits of like directed tasks for you to do, and I guess it's important to say at this point that I was a teacher for 10 years before I pivoted to photo, which some of you might know if you've watched some of my other videos or you follow along with me on Instagram. But I know how to put things together. I know how to organise tasks. That's definitely one of my skills that I'm most proud of, that helps me when it comes to building resources, educational resources. So I just want to show you an overview of the guide. I'm so proud of this, and it's going through every single thing. Like here, if we look at client journey, it's going through why this is so important and giving you some insight into why the impact of what you're deciding to spend your time on is important. And then it goes through each stage of the client journey and it gives you quick tasks that you can do. So even if you've got 5 minutes, you can go through, do these quick tasks, and they're really going to help you to optimize your workflows. So it goes all through client journey, and you can see this section is probably the biggest, and then we go on to things like editing. Now, have you thought about your sneak peeks workflow? Have you thought about how to get the most out of it, how to get yourself into good habits right from the word go? Because again, we're talking about the workflow, and then we've got loads of little tasks that are going to help you get into good habits. And they're just 2 examples. There's loads: branding, logo, marketing. And this is really good because it's talking about how people find you and how you can optimize that reach to get your work, the same work, that one image that you're obsessed with, but in front of loads more eyes. Like, how are you going to do it? And these tasks are going to help you do that. SEO, blogs, alt text, footer on your website. And again, these are all practical, quick activities that you can do. If you've only got half an hour, you can go onto the guide, choose a page, choose a section, and then maybe if you've got half a day or a full day, you can go on to a bigger section like client journey. But there's loads to keep you occupied over the slow season. And yeah, I'm just really proud of it. And if you look down in the comments or in the description, down below, you'll find a discount code for all resources on the Faye Wilde Education store.